So how can you manage your debt among the coronavirus pandemic? And how can you save money when times are so uncertain? If you ever wondered one of these questions or both of them, you're in the right place because I'm going to be talking about both of these topics in today's video. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Landon, and on the channel I talk about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. So if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do that now so you don't miss out on awesome videos like this every single week. So when it comes to managing debt amid a coronavirus pandemic or any other type of unusual circumstance, there's not a perfect to-do list or checklist to go from for every single person that lists the steps to do in order to pay off that debt in the perfect way. And that's because every single person is different in how their debt is aligned and what kind of debts that they have. It totally depends on the situation. So I'm going to walk through a couple of different scenarios. And the first scenario is if you have a very stable job, something that you know you're not going to get laid off, it's stable and you're not worried about being laid off, you can continue to pay off your debt as normal. And just whatever you're doing before all the coronavirus pandemic stuff, just continue to make those payments. Now, also with this scenario number one, I would definitely make sure that you had that solid emergency fund set up. So you've got really two big things. You've got that stable job and you've got the solid emergency fund. In scenario number two, you have an unstable job. So let's say you've got some sort of job where you don't know if you could be furloughed or laid off even. And so in that case, my recommendation for managing your debt is to continue making the minimum payments, but setting aside the rest of whatever you're making into savings for those times when you might be laid off. And especially if you don't have an emergency fund set up already, then this is going to be really important to make just the minimum payments on your debt and not worry too much about getting those debts paid off right away because you don't know if you're going to have your job or not. So when it comes to paying off your debts, I generally recommend paying off your highest interest rate debts first. And there are a lot of factors that go into why you should do this first or if you should do this first, but generally this is going to save you the most money in the long run. So for student loan debt, thankfully the feds have totally wiped out interest rates for the next 6 months. So that means if you are in scenario number one where you have a stable job and you have that emergency fund set aside, continue making your student loan payments as much as you can. Now, if you're in scenario number two where you don't have that emergency fund and you have an unstable job situation, make the minimum payments still on those student loans, but set aside the rest of that money for that emergency fund in case you do lose your job. So when it comes to saving money in a pandemic, there's really 4 absolutes. Now, I know this is a lot easier said than done when you're at home all the time and you're shopping on Amazon and you're bored and you're just buying things with one click. Yeah, it gets really easy to do. But there's 4 absolutes when it comes to living, and that is your housing/utilities. So how do you stay in a safe place? There's clothing. So if you don't have clothing, you can't go to work and do your job. There is food, which obviously we have to eat to survive. And then the last one is transportation. How are you going to get to work? How are you going to ensure that your car or whatever means of transportation guarantees that you get to work so that you can provide yourself and your family with an income stream? So those 4 absolutes are the bare minimum, the most important things when it comes to distributing your money. So absolutely you've got to cover those 4 things. So if you really actually want to save money during this coronavirus pandemic and are trying to look for ways to save money, track your expenses. Use something like mint.com or personalcapital.com to budget your money, just to track and see where your expenses are going from every single paycheck. Tracking your money will give you a good idea of where you're spending too much at and where you can cut some expenses that you may not be aware of. So just to sort of recap what I talked about in this video, if you're managing your debt and you've got a stable emergency fund, and you've got a stable job, pay off your debt as normal. If not, make the minimum payments and set the rest to savings. When it comes to saving money in a situation like this, there's 4 absolutes, right? So taking care of those 4 absolutes as the most essential thing, and then tracking your expenses to see how you can cut back costs and save some money that way are going to be the most important things when it comes to saving money. So there's one more thing I want to cover in this video that's sort of off topic from what I've already talked about, but that is there are a lot of uncertainties in this time, and this can cause a lot of stress when people don't know if they're going to be able to keep their job or provide for their family, it can cause a lot of stress financially and emotionally. But there is one thing that we absolutely always have control of, and that is our attitude. And so if you wake up every day with a positive attitude, you're going to be able to see things in a different light than you would if you woke up every morning and just were grumbling about how you may not have a job at the end of the day. Try and keep a positive light, and that just goes with all things in life, let alone outside of the pandemic. Our attitude, we have control of every single day. So that's just kind of a side note, but I wanted to mention it here because that's really going to be a great thing going through this troubling time. So hopefully after watching this video, you've got a little bit of insight into how you can manage your debt amid the coronavirus pandemic and these unusual circumstances that we're in. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks guys, and I will see you in the next video.